The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 1. The spaceship Horizon slowed as it approached the massive ring station. Dr. Alex Morgan pressed his face against the viewport, his heart racing. After decades of searching the stars, humanity had finally found others. "This is it," Captain Samantha Wright said beside him. She straightened her blue uniform jacket. "First contact with the Galactic Council." Alex nodded. He had studied alien communication for 15 years, but nothing could prepare him for this moment. 17 different species all working together. It's amazing. "And now 18 with us," Samantha said with a smile. The Horizon docked with a gentle bump. Alex, Samantha, and 5 other crew members walked through the airlock. They stepped onto the station and saw their welcoming party. The aliens were unlike anything from Earth. Some had 6 limbs, others had scaled skin, and one glowed with soft blue light. The tallest alien stepped forward. It had purple skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. "Greetings, humans," it said in perfect English. "I am Ambassador Kalar of the Veltraxian Empire. Welcome to Harmony Station." Alex and Samantha bowed slightly. "Thank you for your welcome," Alex said. "We are honored to represent Earth." Kalar made a gesture with its upper limbs. "Please follow. The council awaits." They walked through wide hallways filled with aliens of all shades. Alex noticed many staring at the humans. Some pointed, others whispered to each other. The council chamber was a large room with seats arranged in a circle. The human delegation sat in small chairs at the center. A being made of what looked like living crystal spoke first. "Humans of Earth, we welcome you to Galactic Society. I am High Counselor Ziran. We have observed your world for some time." Samantha stepped forward. "We come seeking friendship and knowledge. Earth wishes to join your community of worlds." The council members looked at each other. Several made sounds that the translation devices didn't catch. "Of course," said Kalar. "But these things take time. Your species is very young." Another alien, who resembled a tall insect, clicked its mandibles. "Your technology is quite primitive. Your longest-lived humans barely reach 100 years. How fascinating you've made it this far." Alex felt his face grow warm. "We have much to learn, but also much to offer. Our scientists have made great advances in medicine and—" Yes, interrupted a small green alien. "Very impressive for such a fragile species." The meeting continued for hours. The council asked many questions about Earth, but offered little information in return. They spoke slowly, using simple terms, as if talking to children. Later, in a private room assigned to the humans, Alex paced back and forth. "Did you notice how they were looking at us? Like we're some kind of zoo exhibit?" Samantha nodded. "I caught that too. And when I asked about joining the trade routes, they changed the subject." Their translator, Luis Garcia, entered the room, his face serious. "I just overheard something." My translator picked up a conversation between 2 council members in the hallway. "What did they say?" asked Alex. Luis frowned. "They were laughing about us, called us cute primitives and the galaxy's new pets. They said the council has no intention of sharing advanced technology because we're not ready." Samantha's eyes narrowed. "So all the talk about friendship was just for show?" "It gets worse," Luis said. "They're planning to establish a protective relationship with Earth. Basically, they'll control what we can and can't do in space." Alex sat down heavily. "They don't see us as equals. They see us as children who need guidance." Samantha looked out the viewport at the vast station, or as resources to be managed. "What do we do now?" asked Luis. Samantha's face hardened. "We play along. We learn everything we can. We don't let them see that we know." She looked at her team. "Earth deserves respect, not pity. And one day, they'll learn that." Outside their room, an alien walked past. It glanced at the humans through the window and made a chittering sound. It was laughing. The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 2. 5 years passed since humans first met the Galactic Council. Jack Bennett stood in his small trading ship, looking at the cargo scanner results with a frown. The alien merchant had cheated him again. "These aren't grade A medical supplies," Jack said, pointing at the boxes. "These are expired, and you're charging me triple the normal price." The alien merchant, a gray-skinned Tauran with 3 eyes, made a whistling sound. "Take it or leave it, human. No one else will sell to you anyway." Jack wanted to argue, but he knew the merchant was right. Humans had few friends in space. He paid the high price and loaded the supplies onto his ship. Later, Jack flew toward the human colony on Mars. His ship was old and slow compared to alien vessels. The Council had banned humans from buying better engines, saying they weren't ready for the technology. On his screen, a message appeared from his friend Dr. Lisa Coleman. She worked at a space hospital where many species were treated. "Jack, did you get the supplies?" Lisa asked. Her face looked tired. "Yes, but they're not good quality." Again, Jack sighed. "How's your research going?" Lisa's eyes darkened. "I made a breakthrough on treating that bone disease affecting the Knox children. But when I came in today, my alien supervisor had taken my research and put his name on it." That's the 3rd time. Jack hit his control panel in anger. "The Council says human research must be verified by senior alien scientists," Lisa said bitterly. And then they take the credit. When Jack reached Mars colony, he saw the dome was still damaged from last year's dust storm. The Council had promised materials to fix it, but they never came. Inside the colony, Jack met with colony leader Frank Nelson. Frank's office was small and cold to save power. "How bad is it?" Jack asked. Frank showed Jack a document on his screen. "The Council has cut our water allowance again. They say Earth needs to learn to manage resources better. But we've reduced usage by 30% already. Doesn't matter. And there's more." Frank pulled up another message. "They're sending advisors to help us run the colony. Aliens who will have final say on all decisions." Jack sat down heavily. "They're taking control bit by bit and calling it help," Frank added. That evening, Jack attended a secret meeting in the lower level of the colony. 20 humans gathered in a small room. Dr. Lisa Coleman was there, along with miners, engineers, and 2 Earth military officers. "It's getting worse," said Officer Olivia Puddle. "Earth asked again for medical technology to cure the new virus spreading in Asia. The Council said no. They'll treat our sick, but won't show us how. They want us dependent," said a miner named Ryan Clark. "My team digs up rare minerals the aliens need, but they pay us almost nothing, then sell finished products back at huge prices." Lisa stood up. "I'd been collecting data." She showed charts on a screen. "Every human colony and settlement faces the same problems. Unfair trade, stolen ideas, technology restrictions." "They laugh at us," Jack said. "I've seen it. They think we're just stupid animals who should be grateful for their help." Officer Patel looked at everyone in the room. "The question is, what can we do? We can't fight them. Their weapons are too advanced." Lisa smiled for the first time. "We don't fight them, not directly. But I've been studying the Council. They aren't as united as they want us to think. They have weaknesses." "What kind of weaknesses?" asked Ryan. "Political divisions, resource needs, and most importantly, they underestimate us." Lisa's eyes showed a fierce light. "They think we're simple, that we'll accept whatever they give us with a smile and a thank you." Jack stood up. "So we let them keep thinking that, while we plan." Frank nodded slowly. "The universe had its laugh, but it won't be laughing much longer." Outside the room, life in the colony continued. Humans worked, smiled at their alien advisors, and acted grateful, but behind their eyes, a fire was growing. The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 3. Dr. Lisa Coleman stared at her screen in horror. The numbers were getting worse. The bacterial plague affecting 3 council worlds was spreading faster than predicted. "We need to implement my solution now," she told her alien supervisor, a tall Zivran named Dr. Mechtel. "This bacteria is similar to one we fought on Earth 200 years ago. I've developed a treatment based on our old records." Dr. Mechtel's 6 eyes blinked slowly. "Your primitive solution is not needed. The Council's top scientists are working on this. But millions are already sick. The crops are failing on 3 planets. People will starve," Lisa argued. "This is not your concern," Dr. Mechtel said. "Return to your assigned duties." Lisa walked away, fists clenched. For weeks she had tried to get someone to listen. The plague affected a special grain that many council species ate. Without it, billions would go hungry. That night, Lisa called Jack Bennett on a secure line. "They won't listen, but I know my cure will work." Jack's face looked grim on the screen. "I've heard reports. It's bad, Lisa. Worse than they're telling anyone." "I need to get my cure to those planets," Lisa said. "But I can't do it alone." Jack was quiet for a moment. "I know someone who might help, but it's risky." 2 days later, Lisa met Commander Eric Taylor of the Earth vessel Defiance. The Defiance was one of the few human military ships allowed in space, but it was closely watched by the Council. Commander Taylor was a tall man with serious eyes. "Dr. Coleman, Jack explained your situation. What exactly do you need?" Lisa showed him the data on her tablet. "My cure needs to be sprayed directly on the infected crops. I've made enough for 1 planet. If it works, they can make more for the others." "And the Council refused this?" Taylor asked. "They won't even test it. They say human science is too basic to solve their problems." Taylor looked at the star map on his wall. "The Defiance is scheduled to patrol near Sibylla, one of the affected planets. If we diverted our course, it would violate Council orders." Lisa finished. "You could lose your ship, your career. If we do nothing, billions suffer." Taylor stood straight. "I'll do it, but you need to come with us to oversee the treatment." 1 week later, the Defiance approached Sibylla. Lisa watched from the bridge as the planet grew larger on the screen. "We're being hailed," said the communications officer. A Sibelian official appeared on screen. "Human vessel, you are not authorized to approach. Turn back immediately." Commander Taylor stepped forward. "We bring medicine for your crops. Dr. Coleman has developed a cure for the plague." "We were not informed of this," the official said. "There wasn't time for paperwork," Taylor replied. "Your people are starving." After a tense discussion, the Sibelians allowed them to land. Lisa directed the spraying of her cure over the main farming regions. Within days, the bacteria began to die. The crops started to recover. News spread quickly. The other affected planets begged for the cure. The Defiance delivered Lisa's formula to them as well. But when they returned to the main council station, they found security forces waiting. Armed aliens surrounded the Defiance. Ambassador Klar stood at the front. "Commander Eric Taylor and Dr. Lisa Coleman, you are under arrest for bioterrorism." "Bioterrorism?" Lisa gasped. "We cured the plague. Our investigation suggests humans created this bacteria and released it on our worlds," Klar said coldly. "Then conveniently appeared with a cure to make us dependent on human medicine." "That's a lie," Taylor shouted as aliens moved to handcuff him. "The Council has evidence," Klar continued. "Your ship and crew are now seized. You will stand trial for crimes against the galaxy." Lisa watched in shock as Taylor and his crew were led away. Through the window, she saw Council officials boarding the Defiance, taking control of the ship. "Why are you doing this?" Lisa asked Klar when the others were gone. "You know we only helped." Klar leaned close. "Humans must learn their place. The universe has order. You are at the bottom of it." As Lisa was led to her cell, she heard the aliens laughing behind her. The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 4. Laura Peterson sat quietly in the back of the council chamber, pretending to take notes like a good human aide. No one paid attention to her. Humans were furniture to these aliens, present but not important. Today was Commander Eric Taylor's trial. Laura watched as Taylor stood in the center circle, his hands bound. He looked tired but stood tall. "Commander Taylor," said High Counselor Ziran, "you are charged with bioterrorism, disobeying council orders, and illegal entry into protected space. How do you plead?" "Not guilty," Taylor said firmly. "We saved those planets. The plague was natural, not made by humans." The insect-like judge clicked its mandibles. "We have evidence that says otherwise." Laura knew this was a lie. For weeks, she had secretly copied files from the council's system. The evidence against Taylor was fake. The council knew humans didn't create the plague. They just wanted a reason to punish Taylor for showing that humans could solve problems the council couldn't. The trial continued for hours. It was all for show. Laura knew the council had already decided Taylor was guilty. When the session ended, Laura slipped away. She had copied all the real evidence showing Taylor's innocence. She needed to get it to Earth. Jack Bennett was waiting with his ship at a small docking bay. "Did you get it?" he asked when Laura boarded. Laura patted her hidden pocket. "All of it. Files showing the plague was natural. Proof that the council knew Dr. Coleman's cure would work, but they refused it because they didn't want humans to get credit. This is bigger than just Taylor," Jack said as he started the engines. "The council is afraid of us." Back on Earth, news of Taylor's arrest spread quickly. People watched their screens as fake evidence was presented against him. The trial was broadcast to show humans what happened when they stepped out of line. But it had the opposite effect. In New Houston, thousands gathered in the streets. They carried pictures of Taylor and his crew. They demanded justice. On the Mars colony, Ryan Clark gathered the miners. "They've arrested Taylor for saving lives," he told them. "I say we stop mining their precious metals until they release him." The miners cheered. They shut down the machines. That day, not a single ton of rare minerals left Mars. On 3 other human colonies, workers did the same. They didn't fight or yell. They simply stopped working. In her office on Earth, General Catherine Rodriguez watched all this happen on multiple screens. A call came in from the United Nations Space Command. "The Council has placed 3 of our scientific outposts under protective quarantine," said the UN official. "They've cut off supplies and communication. They say it's to prevent further human interference in Council affairs." "How many people?" Rodriguez asked. "Over 2,000 scientists and their families. They have food for maybe a month." Rodriguez's face hardened. "So they're holding our people hostage now." That evening, leaders from Earth and all human colonies met secretly. They used old radio frequencies the Council didn't monitor. "We can't fight them directly," said Frank Nelson from Mars. "Their weapons would destroy us." "But we don't need weapons," said Laura Peterson, who had just returned to Earth with her evidence. "The Council isn't as strong as they want us to think. They have weaknesses." She showed them the files she had stolen. "They depend on us more than they admit. They need our minerals. They need our workers, and most of all, they need us to stay quiet and obedient." "So what do we do?" someone asked. General Rodriguez stood up. "We start Operation Oversight. We play by their rules on the surface. We smile and bow. But underneath, her eyes narrowed. We make them regret ever laughing at humanity." Across Earth and the colonies, humans began to prepare. They didn't build weapons or ships. Instead, they started learning, studying, finding the small cracks in the Council's power. The universe had laughed at humans. Soon it would learn that making humans angry was a terrible mistake. The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 5. Greg Martinez walked slowly through the main hallway of the Council's central communications hub. He wore the gray uniform of a cleaning worker. No alien looked at him twice. Humans often did the simple jobs no one else wanted. But Greg wasn't really a cleaner. Back on Earth, He had been one of the best systems analysts in North America. Now he was part of Operation Oversight. When no one was looking, Greg plugged a small device into a data port hidden behind a wall panel. The device copied itself into the system and then went to sleep. It would wait there until the right time. Greg had placed similar devices in 37 different systems across Council space. Each one contained code that would activate at the same moment. On Mars colony, Ryan Clark and the other miners had returned to work after the Council threatened to cut off air supplies. But they worked differently now, just a little slower, making small mistakes that took time to fix. Nothing that looked deliberate. "We're producing about 20% less than before," Ryan told Frank Nelson in a quiet meeting. "The Council representatives are frustrated, but they can't prove we're doing it on purpose." Frank nodded. "Same in the processing plant. Small delays, minor equipment failures. Nothing major, but it adds up." This was happening on every human world and station. Humans followed all the rules, but things still went wrong. Deliveries arrived late. Systems needed extra maintenance. Efficiency dropped. The Council sent investigators, but they found nothing they could punish. After all, humans were primitive. How could they expect perfection? In another part of space, Daniel White flew his small cargo ship between stars. On paper, he carried basic supplies to human outposts. But hidden in his cargo were pieces of technology and information smuggled from one human settlement to another. The Council had banned humans from having certain tools and knowledge. Daniel and his fellow pilots made sure humans got them anyway. "We need another month," Daniel told General Rodriguez during a secure call. "Then all the colonies will have what they need." At the main Council medical facility, Dr. Lisa Coleman had been released from detention but was closely watched. She wasn't allowed to do important research anymore. Instead, she worked in a small lab testing simple samples. But Lisa used her position to study the aliens themselves. Each day, she learned more about their biology, their weaknesses, their needs. She sent this information through secret channels to Earth. On the Council's home station, one human watched everything. Laura Peterson had somehow kept her job as an aide. The Council thought she was harmless. They never noticed as she quietly studied the politics among the alien species. "The Veltraxians and the Nox are close to a trade war," she reported to General Rodriguez. "3 other species are upset about resource allocation. The Council isn't as united as they want us to think." Back on Earth, Catherine Rodriguez coordinated it all from a hidden command center. For 18 months, humans prepared. They gathered information. They found weaknesses. They placed people in key positions. "Are we ready?" she asked her team during their final meeting. Frank Nelson from Mars nodded. "The mining slowdown has created a shortage of critical metals. The Council's military ships can't get replacement parts." Laura Peterson's face appeared on a screen. "I've identified the corrupt Council members and gathered evidence of their secret deals. Their own people will turn against them when they see it." Greg Martinez reported next. "My algorithms are in place. One command, and their communications network will be ours for 3 hours." Daniel White smiled. "Every human colony now has emergency supplies hidden away. We can survive for months if they cut us off." General Rodriguez looked at each of them. "Remember, we don't want war. We want respect. We want fair treatment. But first, we have to show them they can't push us around anymore." She pressed a button on her desk. "Operation Oversight is now active. Let's show the universe what happens when they make humans angry." Across Council space, humans continued to work, smile, and obey. But behind their eyes burned a fire that was about to burst into flame. The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 6. The day began like any other on the Council's main station. Aliens of all species moved through the halls, discussing politics and trade. Human workers cleaned the floors, served food, and fixed minor problems. No one paid them any attention. In his small apartment, Greg Martinez looked at his watch. It was time. He opened his computer and typed a simple command. Across council space, thousands of hidden programs woke up at the same moment. They spread through communication systems, taking control. Screens went blank, then came back online showing a single message. We need to talk. On the command deck, council leaders shouted in confusion. What's happening? Get communications back online. But no one could. The systems were locked. For the next 3 hours, all council communications would show only what the humans wanted them to see. And what they showed was the truth. On every screen across council space, evidence appeared. Secret deals between council members to keep humans from advancing. Lies about Commander Taylor and the plague. Private messages laughing about human pets who needed to be kept in their place. The council's secrets were exposed to everyone, including their own people. At the same time, Laura Peterson sent copies of the evidence to rival political groups within each alien species. She had spent months learning who would be most angry about the council's corruption. Let them fight among themselves, she told General Rodriguez over a secure line. We don't need to attack them. They'll do it for us. In the Veltraxian Empire, nobles were already demanding answers from their representatives on the council. The Nox religious leaders were calling for investigations. 3 other species were pulling their ships back to protect their own worlds. On Mars Colony, Frank Nelson called an emergency meeting with the council representatives. The aliens looked nervous. We've stopped all mining operations, Frank said calmly, and we will not start again until Commander Taylor and his crew are released. The head representative, a Tauran named Grohl, tried to look firm. This is against our agreement. We can cut off your supplies. Frank smiled. We have enough supplies for 6 months. Do you have enough metals for that long? Your ships are already breaking down without our minerals. How long until your defense systems fail too? For the first time, Frank saw fear in the alien's eyes. At the prison where Commander Taylor was held, a new ship approached. It was the Redemption, commanded by Captain Maria Harrison. It was one of Earth's newest vessels, secretly built using knowledge humans had gathered over 18 months. Harrison opened a channel to the prison. This is Captain Harrison of the Earth vessel Redemption. We are here to retrieve our people. The prison director laughed. One small human ship against our defenses. Leave now or be destroyed. Harrison pressed a button, and all the prison's lights went out. Their weapons systems went offline. Even the doors between sections opened. Your systems are now under our control, Harrison said. We've been maintaining your technology for years. Did you think we didn't learn how it works? Inside the prison, Commander Taylor and his crew heard their cell doors unlock. They moved quickly through the hallways, meeting no resistance. The guards' weapons had mysteriously stopped working. When they reached the docking bay, Captain Harrison was waiting. Welcome aboard, Commander, she said with a smile. Sorry we're late. Across council space, similar scenes played out. Human workers suddenly showed they knew more than they had ever revealed. Security systems failed. Ships couldn't launch. And in every case, humans made the same simple demand: respect. In the council chamber, Ambassador Klar faced an angry group of humans and aliens. Laura Peterson stood at the front. For years you've treated us like children, she said. You've lied to us, cheated us, and laughed at us. That ends today. Klar looked at the faces around him. Many of his fellow council members were already backing away. Some had been arrested by their own governments after the evidence was released. What do you want? He asked quietly. General Rodriguez stepped forward. We want a seat at the table. Equal treatment. Fair trade. And Commander Taylor pardoned for crimes he never committed. Klar's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. And if we refuse? Rodriguez smiled. Look around you. Your communications are down. Your ships can't move. Your weapons don't work. Your own people are turning against you. Do you really want to see what else we can do? For the first time, the universe wasn't laughing at humans anymore. The universe laughed. Then humans got angry. Part 7. 1 year after the day humans showed their strength, the galaxy was a different place. Ambassador Jason Kelly walked into the new council chamber. Unlike the old one, this room had seats of equal size for all species. Jason took his place as Earth's representative, nodding to the other members. The old council had fallen apart after humans revealed its corruption. Many leaders had been replaced by their own people. The new Galactic Charter, written with significant input from humans, ensured protections for all developing species. The trade agreement with the Nox is ready for final approval, Jason said, presenting the document. Fair prices for both sides. The Nox representative clicked his mandibles in agreement. We look forward to working with Earth directly, without intermediaries. Across the chamber, Ambassador Kalar watched quietly. He was one of the few old council members who had survived the changes. His 4 eyes no longer looked down on humans. Now they held caution, even respect. In the medical district, Dr. Lisa Coleman walked through her new research institute. Scientists of many species worked side by side, sharing knowledge freely. After her cure for the plague, Lisa had become one of the most respected medical researchers in the galaxy. The new treatment is showing excellent results, said her Veltraxian assistant. Your approach was unexpected, but brilliant. Lisa smiled. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best. We just need to look at problems differently. At the edge of council space, Jack Bennett's trading fleet moved between worlds. After humans gained equal trading rights, Jack had established independent routes that quickly became essential to galactic commerce. Another successful run, his pilot said as they docked at a busy station. The Torrens are asking if we can double their shipment next month. Jack looked at his schedule. Tell them yes. We're expanding faster than I expected. On Earth, Commander Eric Taylor, now Admiral Taylor, stood in the United Nations Space Command headquarters. Through the window, he watched new ships launching into space. No longer were humans limited to old, slow vessels. Now they built their own advanced fleet. Beautiful, aren't they? Said General Rodriguez, joining him at the window. Taylor nodded. 5 years ago, I never would have believed this was possible. They underestimated what happens when you make humans angry, Rodriguez said with a smile. A mistake they won't make again. In a mining colony on Mars, Ryan Clark showed a group of alien visitors through the operation. The aliens asked questions, took notes, and treated Ryan with respect. Your efficiency methods are impressive, said one visitor. Our world would benefit from implementing similar approaches. Ryan nodded. We're happy to share our knowledge. That's what equals do. Across the galaxy, humans had found their place, not as servants or pets, but as valued members of the galactic community. They'd brought new ideas, different perspectives, and a determination that had surprised every other species. On the main council station, a celebration marked the anniversary of the new charter. Captain Samantha Wright, now Admiral Wright, stood with an alien from a formerly marginalized species. Together, they had worked to create fairer policies for developing worlds. Do you remember the first time we came here? The alien asked. How they treated both our peoples. Samantha nodded. They thought we were amusing curiosities. They laughed at us. They certainly aren't laughing now, her ally said. Samantha looked across the room. Humans worked alongside aliens as equals. Earth ships traveled freely through space. Human science and ideas spread throughout the galaxy, welcomed for their unique perspective. No, Samantha agreed. They're not laughing anymore. From a quiet corner, Dr. Alex Morgan watched the celebration. He thought back to that first day on the station, when aliens had stared at humans like zoo exhibits. How quickly things had changed. A young Galtraxian approached him. Dr. Morgan, your book on cross-species communication has been very helpful in my studies. Would you sign my copy? Alex smiled as he took the book. Of course. What are you studying? The history of first contacts. The student said. Yours was particularly interesting. You started with almost nothing, yet within a few years, you changed the entire galactic power structure. Alex handed back the signed book. The universe made a simple mistake. It laughed at us when it should have been listening. Outside the station windows, Earth was visible as a small blue dot among countless stars. No longer alone, no longer ignored, and definitely no longer laughed at.